Hello again and thanks for joining. Today I've got a Fleischmann locomotive to look at. It's a BR94 from the Deutsche Bundesbahn. I got this model as part of a job lot with a whole bunch of Pico models from the same kind of era, and they were all a bit knackered. You can see some of the reviews on this channel where I've tried to fix them up. I'm hoping this Fleischmann locomotive isn't in the same state. It certainly looks very well packaged in there. So let's get this open and we'll take a look at it. Well, thankfully nothing fell off it when I took it out the package in there, so we're on to a winner already, and it certainly looks like a fantastic model. So looking a bit closer at this, you can see that it is got a lot of detail in it and a lot of extra parts. All this pipework here on the boiler looks really amazing. This model does have some dust and dirt on it here, so I think it's probably been in storage for a while, so I'm not sure how good this is going to run just straight out the box, but we'll give it a go in a little moment. At the front there is a little bit of wear on the buffers, but you can see the white circles on them there. And we've got quite a lot of nice detail on the buffer beam as well, although we do have the slot with the coupling hanging out the front here, which cantilevers pretty well. We have these lamps here which look as though they illuminate, along with the one at the top of the boiler here, and the smoke box door is nicely detailed and you can see very clearly the number on it, 941730. It looks like this little marker here has been pushed over slightly, so it has had a few bashes in its time. It is a second-hand model after all. Looking down the length of the side of the locomotive, it really looks very good. There's a lot of rivet detail there, and you can see right through underneath the boiler there as well. Up on top we've got a number of different boxes, and all the pipework joining it all together looks fantastic, and also no damage as well, so I'm really happy about that. Although the paint does look a bit funny on the side of the tanks here, as if some matte varnish has been applied. I'm not sure whether that is actually from the factory or somebody's added that on at a later date. The printing on the side of this is really good. I can actually see it says Deutsche Bundesbahn there. I thought it was actually Deutsche Reichsbahn, but I'm incorrect. It's a Deutsche Bundesbahn version, which is quite interesting. And the rest of the numbers and all the writing on the side is really clear. The masking between the red and the black is good as well. Inside we do actually have some details in there. Normally you get to see just a motor, but you can see it has some cab details on the back of the firebox there. And the glazing is flush fit as well. So I'm actually thinking this is a more modern release from Fleischmann than some of the stuff I normally get. Around the back here the coal representation isn't that good, but there are lots of nice features on here, like the cables moulded into the main piece of plastic. Lots of rivet detail here on the roof, although up top you can see that there is a moulding mark running the whole length of the boiler and across these extra little boxes, which is a bit of a shame. I don't like seeing that. Some really nice detail of railings on the back windows there, and it also looks as though we have lighting at the back here on all three lamps. Another nicely detailed buffer beam with a slot and the cantilever coupling, and underneath a couple of tanks at the back in red. This side of the locomotive is very similar, but we do have a bit more pipework moulded in here. And you can see some of the red is coming away from this tank, for example. It's just been worn away over time. But overall, this is looking really good so far. Down below, thankfully, we have metal coupling rods here, and they're very fine with the red inserts, which look great as well. The Pico ones that I had recently all had plastic valve gear and it was all breaking, but this is not suffering that at all. It's got nicely presented metal pieces, and the wheels also look good. We've got an 010 arrangement on this tank engine. And the brake blocks are in line with the wheels. No traction tyres on this, but this is actually quite heavy, so I think it'll have no problems going on the track. So overall, this is a really good looking locomotive with a lot of details, and it also screams quality as well. It's probably one of Fleischmann's better models, and I believe it's a fairly recent release. It's certainly got a lot of refinement and modern features about it. Well, let's put this on the track and we'll see how it runs. So here it is on the test track. It's just some Hornby third radius track that I've got here on the stage. I don't have much space, and I've hooked it up to my H&M controller, which is providing 12 volts DC. Even though this is an 010, it fitted on this track no problem at all. Let's give it some power and see what happens. Well, what a fantastic model this is. It just runs perfectly, absolutely no problems. Just put some power on it and off it went. It's fantastically geared as well. It's really slow, but it can pick up some speed if it needs to. All the lights worked on this as well. Okay, they're a bit dim under 12 volt DC, so it's a really impressive model. I'm going to try and see if we can get the body off of this and we'll have a look at the mechanism. So we have a cast metal chassis here and an additional weight as well. The gearing is all here in plastic apart from the cog on the motor at the back here, but it is securely attached to the chassis. The motor is just a normal kind of pancake motor, but it doesn't seem to have much wear on it, but it certainly works really well. We've only got one single bulb at each end of this locomotive to provide the lighting, and so you could very easily upgrade this to LEDs if you wanted. As well as the weight in the chassis and that extra weight there, we also have a weight in here, just here tucked inside the boiler. And it does look as though this has been moulded in black plastic and this red has been applied onto it, so the masking has been done really well. I can't see any problems with it at all. When we've got this off, we can actually see that we have some details moulded into the piece of plastic here, and that includes just some wood effect and some coal as well from the bunker. Okay, let's get this back together and I'll put it on the scales. So this model comes in at 314 grams. So what an incredible model this Fleischmann BR94 is. It's catalogue number 4094 and I think a fairly recent release, or certainly not vintage like most of the stuff on this channel. It really shows how refined and well executed this model is. The mechanism runs absolutely perfectly, it's got some great looking valve gear and all that extra details added onto the model, which really looks fantastic, and also the printing is great as well. I would be quite bold and say this is probably the best Fleischmann locomotive I've ever seen. I'm really quite lucky to have managed to get this, and also second hand without any damage as well. Unlike many locomotives which have the motor in the cab, this one doesn't, so it allows you to put in a couple of figures if you want to and just add that extra little personality to it. But as it stands, it's a fantastic model, and if you were to get this, I'm sure it would be a fantastic addition to your collection and work absolutely perfectly on your model railway as well. So it's a big thumbs up from me. But what do you think about this locomotive? Would it be one of your favourites? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel. And you can subscribe to keep yourself up to date with model railway news and reviews. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya!